Hey guys, this is Clinton Jeff from UnleashThePhones.com, and here's a quick video review of the Sony Xperia J. The Xperia J is a lower mid-range phone from Sony, so its specs aren't very impressive, but you have a very affordable price tag along with this, and a 4-inch display and a 1 GHz single-core processor powering the Android 4.0 UI that you see right there with Sony's custom UI on top of it. You have a 5 megapixel camera at the back which has autofocus and a single LED flash, and you also have a front facing camera right there, which is nice to see on a budget device at this point. Since it's a budget phone, most of it is made out of plastic. As you can see, it's a very matte-ish plastic which doesn't catch fingerprints at the back, so that's kind of nice. The front screen though does catch a little bit of fingerprints, which is a little bit annoying, but I guess you have to live with it if you're buying a touchscreen phone nowadays. The design is kind of interesting from the back because it has a little bit of a curve to it. From the front though, it is admittedly kind of boring. It is a very monolithic, standard rectangular touchscreen design from the front, but it is worth knowing that it is very comfortable to hold because of its size and the curve at the back. You also have a nice little notification light at the bottom, which I can't actually show you right now because I haven't got any notifications, but it is very cool. We have pictures of that on the blog. Below the screen you have your standard 3 Android keys for back, home and menu. This is basically what Sony has stuck to with all of their devices. To go to your recently used apps, you have to press and hold the home button right there. The screen itself is pretty nice. It's a 4-inch screen that's 480 by 800 pixels, which is okay, I guess, but the colors are a little saturated. We noticed it's a color, it's either something that you will like or you will hate. The colors are really rich. Viewing angles are also okay, and visibility outdoors is also fine. There is no light sensor though, unfortunately, so when you go outdoors you're gonna have to manually increase the brightness on the screen, which can be a little tedious. But all in all, the screen is something that you're gonna either love or hate. To give you a quick tour of the hardware, on the left side you have the standard micro USB port, nothing at the bottom, keeping it minimal. On this side you have the little slot to open the back panel. You can remove the back panel. You have your volume keys right there, and you have the power and screen lock key right here, which is really hard to press and find because it is sunken and more flush compared to the volume keys. So what happens is you end up pressing the volume up key a lot instead of the power key, which can be annoying. At the top you have the low and 3.5mm audio jack, and that's about it. You have the little speaker at the bottom too, which is actually surprisingly pretty loud. I don't know what it is about budget devices and very loud loudspeakers, but the speaker is pretty good. Coming to Android, you have Android 4.0.0 running on this device, which is also running Sony's custom UI on top. Sony has said that Jelly Bean will be coming to the devices in about sometime in 2013, so hopefully that update will come along soon. You have a bunch of nice little apps right there, like the Timescape app, which pulls in all your Facebook and Twitter feeds from your friends, and basically everything you'd expect out of an Android phone today. The on-screen keyboard, as you just saw, is also pretty nice, but there is a little bit of lag that happens a couple times, which means it's a little iffy, but the autocorrection is nice, so that helps too. The reason why this is a kind of laggy phone, as you might have noticed while I was scrolling around a little bit, is that you have a 1 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor powering this with 512 MB of RAM. So it's not very impressive, and the device feels a little underpowered, unfortunately. Sometimes there's a little bit of lag now and then, and most games work fine, but there is only 4 GB of internal memory, out of which 3 GB is available to you, but you do have a micro SD card slot. Coming to web browsing, the Xperia J, as I said, is a little underpowered, so zooming or going around, the UI is a little bit laggy-ish. There's also a couple frame drops and re-rendering that happens a couple times, mostly because of that 1 GHz processor that's struggling to keep up as it is. Coming to the camera is actually quite nice. There is no camera button at the side, so you're gonna have to open it up manually using the shortcut on the screen. And you have the standard Sony UI for its camera. Camera performance is actually quite bad. Surprisingly, it has a lot of problems with focus, but you can take pictures up to 8 megapixel. In the video, you can take a maximum of VGA resolution video, which is also a little disappointing in this day and age, but it is a single core processor, so that's not a big surprise as such. Coming to music, the stock music player is also quite nice. Sony has always had one of the nicer looking music players, so it's not too bad. You can just tap to add any song to your favorites, or you can browse your music by your albums or artists or tracks. But as you just saw, there is always a little bit of lag in all the stock apps. Coming to video, the video and image viewer is also quite nice. You can play almost any video, provided it's not anywhere near to 720p or 1080p. Coming to call quality, the Xperia J does an okay job at calls, but the microphone at the bottom does pick up a lot of background noise, unfortunately, which does make it hard for the folks on the other end of the call to hear you. Just to quickly show you, the battery is actually a 1750 mAh battery, which means you get about 7.5 hours of talk time. You have this nice chromish finish at the back, so the build quality is actually quite nice, even though this is a little bit of plastic. But the battery does do a good job of lasting through an entire day, so no complaints from me about the battery. To conclude, the Sony Xperia J might seem like it's worth it because of the low price tag. Unfortunately, if you get this phone, I think you're going to be very disappointed. In terms of performance, it is really pretty bad. The camera also has a little bit of problems with focusing, and even though the screen is okay, it's not even the best that we've seen at this price point. I do think you will be very disappointed if you get this phone. Instead, I would say save up and get the Sony Xperia Solar, which might cost a little bit more and does have a slightly smaller screen, but is much better in terms of performance. Even the Sony Xperia P, which is currently stuck on Gingerbread, still does a better job than this. I would also recommend checking out the HTC Desire X, which has a much better chance of getting Jelly Bean and does a much better job in terms of performance than the Sony Xperia J, unfortunately. So thanks for watching, guys. This is a quick review of the Sony Xperia J. You can check out our detailed review over at unleashthephones.com, but if you have any questions, do let me know right in the comment section below.